Good morning and welcome to the Oasis Center for Spiritual Living, where we come together as one, providing spiritual tools for daily living. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Reverend Tucker. I am the senior minister here at the Oasis, and I have this great team that God has provided me that I always like to introduce because I couldn't do this without them. First is my faithful assistant, Faith. Faith has been my assistant pretty much since the day she was born. She used to help her dad with the soundboard when she was a baby. And then when she could sit up, we would put her on the podium and she'd do announcements with me. And I think it made people pay more attention personally. Anyway, about 5 years ago, she became my official assistant. So she is the person behind the scenes that does all the work. I just sit here and talk. And so when you say hi, good morning, hello, she's the one that answers you usually. I go back later in case there's any questions or anything that need to be answered. But, you know, she's grown up 6 blocks from my house and really knows me better than I know myself half the time. So usually she covers everything. And she is our soloist. And it's funny because we're going to have her sing the song that she debuted here at the church.
Yes.
Holy, holy, holy. Yeah. So I know it's going to go a lot better than it did last time. Last time was like, yeah, Tina had technical issues and we couldn't get her on, and Faith goes, I can do it. And she ran outside and did it. So yeah, this is going to be better. So thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have Oz from an audio conference. Is that where you go?
Florida audio.
Huh?
In Tampa. I'm in Tampa.
In Tampa at the Audio Expo. Yeah.
Florida Audio Expo, yeah.
And it's proof positive that you can pray and meditate anywhere. Like Ram Dass said, you could do it on a New York City street. He can do it at the Audio Expo. So that's pretty cool. Oz is my partner in crime. He has been, he was my first baby practitioner, actually, meaning he took all of his classes with me. And then he was my board president for 7 years or something. And then he moved away to Florida and we kind of lost the ability to have him in the service. So when we started doing live with this software, we were able to get him back. So we're really happy about that. And he is our practitioner of the day, meaning he's going to pray us in, he's going to pray us out, and he'll be available at the end for our 1 minute miracle, hopefully, unless you get really tied up. And I'll talk more about that later. But so thank you so much for being here, Oz. All right. And the topic today is I Am the Beloved. And that's all I'm going to say for right now. This is the month of love. And so I'm continuing on with the theme. I am the beloved. All right. I also like to acknowledge our adjunct music team. They don't appear on camera. Well, Tina does occasionally. Albertina Giuffre, who's been singing with us since 2000 and needed a break from all of that. So Faith stepped in and became our soloist, and Tina joins us from time to time. And then there's Karen Drucker and Reverend Ferry Elaine Silver, who have gifted us with their music to be able to do music in a Sunday service. I think that what music does is it opens your heart, so it opens your mind. So that's why we do a lot of music in our church service. So anyway, that's our adjunct music team. Say hi, hello, good morning if you're here. If you stop by later, just say hi. Because just let me know you stop by. In a facility, I can look out and see who's here. But with this software, I just get a number and I don't know exactly who's here. So please do that. All right. And there's a watch party button for those of you who would like to invite your friends to, so you can show them what kind of service they can expect on a Sunday morning. And it gives you an opportunity to talk back and forth with them if they have any questions. So click on that watch party button and invite your friends. I'd like to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. Allow the service to uplift and inspire you as we move into our centering song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can feel the rush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Presence of God, always with us. Over my shoulder, I see there's Zeno, my cat of 19 years. But I'm here in Tampa, and I know that God is right here, right now, with us, in us, as us. I'm speaking closer to the phone to make sure that the audio comes through, for I know that God's presence is right here, right now, even in the Waffle House. And God's presence is right where you are, too, for God's presence is always there. All time, all space, encompassed in that one greater being we call God. And I know that power is ours to use and manifest in our lives as our lives. I know that God is acting through every situation, every cause, every idea. And I know that this can be so good, and I allow only goodness to come, for that is what God produces best. I give thanks that this is so, and the blessings that we receive. And I know that it's good and very good, and so it is.
And so it is. So is there a statue of a cat? Is that what you were saying?
No, the office building, if you see the red letters up there.
Oh, the Zeno office building.
My old Russian blue. Yeah.
I was like, where's this statue that he's talking about? I
had to move from my previous position because they started playing Dire Straits and it was bleeding in. So.
Oh, okay. I miss Zeno. He was a great cat.
Oh, he was wonderful. Yeah.
All right. So thank you very much, Oz.
See you at the end.
See you at the end. All right. This next song is Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's song that she wrote when she was in practitioner training. And it's a great remembering, or a great way to remember that we are all connected. If you know the words, sing it loud and sing it proud, because you can't bother anybody. And if you don't know the words, learn them. It's a great song to keep around in your head all the time.
We are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. I hear it and know it, my being. Spirit is all I am seeing. For God is all there is. Grateful am I to be living, open to what I have seen, honoring what I've been given, sharing now what I believe. I remember the oneness around me. I surrender to infinite light, knowing the love that's surrounding me is within me by day and night. And we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it. Yes, we are all one. We are all one. We are all one in it.
We are definitely all one in it. So if you're here, say hi, good morning, hello, however you'd like to greet us. When we're in a facility, I can look out and see the bright shining faces, but I can't do that with this software. I just get a number. So by all means, if you're joining us, say hi, hello, good morning. And if you're stopping by later, just say hi. Let me know that you were here. If you like something that you hear during the service, by all means, use that thumbs up button. And if you love something that you hear, send us hearts. We love to get hearts. If something strikes you as really powerful that I say, by all means, use that wow button because it gives me some feedback and lets me know that I'm on track, right? Feedback means a lot to us. So without further ado, we are going to have Faith singing Holy, Holy, Holy from Karen Drucker. And which one is that on?
This is on Songs of Spirit 2.
Songs of Spirit 2.
We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are Holy Spirit divine. Holy, come to me. Holy, feeling love. Holy, healing me. Holy, open my heart. Holy, allow me to see. Holy, beauty and love. We are the lives. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are holy, holy, holy. You are Spirit divine. Come to me. Feeling healing me. Open my heart. Allow me to see beauty and love surrounding me. I am holy, holy, holy. 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 I am. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are holy, holy, holy. We are. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am holy, holy, holy. I am.
You are whole. We are whole. I am whole. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh, goodness.
you.
Poor Faith. I pulled one fast one on her. I sent her music for this weekend and then changed my mind at the last minute last night. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I love that song because today's topic is I Am the Beloved. And the song being Holy, Holy, Holy is a setup for why we are the beloved. We have all these ideas about what holy is. For instance, I have a lot of friends who eat a certain way because their body is a temple and they feel more holy when they eat fresh foods. And, you know, I have some respect for that. I don't think that that's what makes us holy. I think that if anything, if we're eating that way, it's because it's a celebration of the idea that we are holy. I just don't think it makes us holy because I think we are already holy, always have been. The part of the whole thing about being holy is that we are whole just as we are. We are absolutely without fault. Now, I'm not saying our actions are perfect, but who we are inside, the essence of our life, the essence of our beingness is whole, perfect, and complete as it is. I said something to one of the people that does my eyelashes, and she was like, you know, I said something about we're all perfect, and she right away brought up, and we get this all the time, what about child molesters? What about rapists? What about blah, blah, blah? And, you know, we're not saying that our actions are always perfect. God knows mine aren't always perfect. What we're saying is the essence of who we are is absolutely perfect already. Now, when we're born, we're like a clean slate, and the things that happen to us in our lives and the things that our reactions to those things that happen in our lives are what creates the actions that we take. It doesn't mean that someone is inherently evil because they do those things. It means that they are expressing a lower form, so to speak, in their doingness. But their beingness is still perfect. Their beingness, the essence of who they are, the life essence, the God power and presence that resides within them is still very much perfect. I start out with this because I do know that the reason we are so beloved is because we are made of God. Quantum physics backs that up, really. They don't call it divine intelligence. They call it an intelligence in the universe that knows how to create something out of nothing. Well, to me, that says divine intelligence. Quantum physics also says that, you know, everything is made of the same stuff, that, you know, the way the molecules bump up against each other determines whether it's going to be a solid thing like this desk, or slower becomes human or animal, and slower even still becomes the air and water and that kind of thing. And we call that stuff of the universe, so to speak. We call that God stuff in our philosophy. And the reason we call it God stuff is because everything in the universe is made of it, right? Let me pull up my little teaching symbol so I can kind of go through it here. Here we go. Okay, so we start with this teaching symbol because the circle represents the unbroken continuity or the unbroken unity of all of life. We are all connected by it, through it, as it, right? There's no beginning and no end. So there's no place where I leave off and you begin, for example. And because we can't really part out God, but because we need to be able to talk about this in a way that is easy for other people to get, we break it up into three parts. That top part is what we call spirit, the middle part is soul, and the bottom part is form. In the spirit, the top part of it is all of the conscious ideas. And in that middle portion, the soul is the stuff of the universe. So in my classes in foundations, we play with Play-Doh because Play-Doh is nothing on its own. It is only after we have an idea in that conscious mind up above and decide that we want to make something out of it, that it becomes the form that we see, right? And so we do that as an exercise to illustrate how that all works. Well, we are the form that God has created out of itself. Okay. And so the creative impulse, the thought process of God lives in that top part where consciously it decided to create life, right? And it created itself out of itself in that middle portion there. And then we become the form that is created. Humans, animals, plants, anything that is out in the world, anything that is around is made of that same God stuff. Now you'll notice that there's a V that takes it from the conscious mind through the soul into form and then returns back into the nothingness from which it came. That is the process of creation. And, I talk a lot about gardening because it's a perfect representation of this. You plant a seed in the soil and then it becomes a flower. And at the end of the season, the flower returns back into the nothingness from which it came. And so that's the way of life. Nothing is permanent except for God, right? All of our life is, I don't want to call it temporary, but all of our life has no permanence. Nothing that we do, say, or think has any permanence. Our life itself, at the end of our life, these bodies go back to the nothingness from which they came. Our consciousness continues on, I believe. But there is always that physical representation, that form that God created through itself, that we are, that passes on. So that V is really what happens in the creative process. And that's why we use it as our teaching symbol, because it really is an important piece of what we teach. Let me grab my other notes here. There's too much on that one. Okay, so when I think of holy, I think of us as the creation of God. And God loves all its creations equally, right? It doesn't matter, because God's not a person, right? That's the thing, I guess, is most important to me, because a person would have preferences. And God's love transcends gender and sexual orientation. And, God doesn't prefer men over women. Like, I grew up Jewish and I got kicked out of Hebrew school a lot. And eventually, I got kicked out of class a lot. Eventually, I actually got kicked out of Hebrew school because I couldn't get along with the idea that we were the chosen people and there were other people that weren't chosen, you see, or that God preferred men over women. That was really hard for a teenage girl moving into womanhood to stomach. So I would question that. And in the Jewish faith, they're always saying, question everything. Well, what got kicked me out of Hebrew school entirely was I said to the rabbi when I was in his office being kicked out of class, you say to question everything, but when I question how God could, prefer men over women or prefer us as chosen people and not everyone else, we're not allowed to question that. And he goes, you're right. You're not allowed to question that. And I said, well, that doesn't make sense to me. You say question everything. That is not everything. If I'm not allowed to question that, well, okay. So that was the end of that relationship. But one of the things I like about our philosophy is we say, you don't leave your brain out in the parking lot. We ask you to come in. We want you to question. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, one of the reasons I loved him so much, or love him so much, is because he called himself the human question mark. He got kicked out of as many Bible study classes as I did Hebrew school classes because he questioned everything. And we in our philosophy say question everything, because if you can't go deeper into what it is you think you believe, if you can't get into that deeper idea of what it is that we teach, then you're not actually living it. You know, there's a lot of people that we call, well, I don't call them that, but Dr. Fred Vogt, who was one of my mentor ministers, used to call them surface. I think he called them surface Christians, because they would come to the surface for Easter and Christmas or something like that. But a lot of people attend church and they're just here and they hear the message and they get inspired by it and they go home and they forget all about it. And those are what we refer to as the surface people. But what really is important is that we take that information and really question it for ourselves, not question the other person, but question ourselves. Like, what is it that I believe? When she said that, that triggered me, or why did it trigger me? It's so interesting because I can give a sermon and I can have people come up to me and say, oh man, what you said was so powerful. And they repeat it back to me. And I'm like, pretty sure I didn't say that. I don't say that to them, but in my mind, I'm going, pretty sure I didn't say that. And then I go back and I listen to it later and I realize, no, I didn't say that, but we hear what we need to hear. My prayer every Sunday morning is that I get my bloated nothingness out of the way and I open myself as a channel through which God's message can be delivered. That's why we say we want the service to uplift and inspire you, because we know it's God doing that work. I'm just here doing the doings, right? The things that allow that to come through. That's my job. God's job is to actually deliver that message and to speak through me what you need to hear, because God knows what you need to hear. I don't know what you need to hear. I know what I need to hear. And I talk about that. So when I listen to the recordings later and I don't hear what that person heard, I say, okay, I get it. God spoke very clearly to that person through me without me ever having to mention a word. So I try to get myself to not be attached to the words that I say and how I say them, because I know that it's God speaking through me. So I've been talking a lot about meditation, and that's a process of communing with the spirit within me. It's not that there's a person there. But if I were to say to you, I would love to have a relationship with you, but I just don't have the time, would you stick around? I don't think so. And it's the same thing with God, and it's the same thing with yourself. Like, if I said to God, yeah, I'd really like to have a relationship with you when I have the time, how long do you think that relationship's going to last? Or even myself, I would really like to have a really good relationship with myself when I can get around to it, right? There was this company that used to manufacture these round tuits. I always thought that was so funny because it's really true. Like, you'll never get around to it. You have to develop that relationship now. And so meditation is a way of communing with that powerful essence within you, right? Cultivating that relationship, giving time to that relationship so that it is there always. Not that God won't desert you if you don't meditate, right? That's not the way this works. Well, the way it works, though, is that my connection, my ability to tune in, sort of that, on the old TVs, you used to have to tune. But that tuner doesn't work properly because I'm not tuned in, not because God isn't there. God is always there, in and through and around us, right? Back in the old days, in the goddess traditions, they used to take Holy Communion, but they didn't call it Holy Communion. They actually sacrificed a human being and would eat the flesh and drink the blood. That's where Holy Communion in the Catholic Church comes from. And it's because you're eating the flesh of Jesus and the blood of Jesus symbolically. And I know that communion is a process that happens in every moment of every day, right? We take in nutrition. We take in, unless it's processed foods, but we take in the nutrition that has been provided for us to take in, and our body automatically knows how to process it. Now, some of the processed foods we haven't, our bodies are not really designed to process. So there's a little challenge with that. So when my friends say, I eat this way because my body is a temple, I have respect for that. I don't think that's what makes you holy, but I have respect for that, because we are partaking in the essence of God. If God is in the plants and God is in the meat and God is in everything that we consume, and the body is made of God, then it is partaking of that essence of life. It is partaking of God. And our body processes it that very way, because we are drinking of the blood and eating of the flesh of God. Right? So when I say communion, I'm talking about everyday activities. When we eat, when we sit in the garden and we look at the animals, when I go through all of these gift order things for people, because when I see an animal, I know that God is there. When I see another person, I know that God is there. But depending on what your gift order is, you're going to experience that a little bit differently. For instance, I'm kinesthetic, meaning I'm a feeler. So I get feelings first before I get anything else. My next gift order is vision. And so I see pictures, or I see actual, visual images. And the third one is prophecy, which is just a knowingness, just, knowing it. I don't get sounds. I get the feeling of the grass growing. I get the feeling of the shimmering of the leaves on the tree. I actually can see that, but I also feel it. I can feel the essence of a life in my yard. When we have birds, or we have raccoons, or we have anything in our yard, I feel the essence of them. I don't hear the sounds. That's not me. Other people will hear the sounds first. That's how they take the information in. So I talk about this in meditation in particular, and visioning, because it's really important that you honor how you get that information. And how you get that information is how you connect with God, how you connect with that inner spirit within you. Now, I don't think all of God is in me. I look at us all as we are watermarks on a page, that God flows through us like the page flows through the watermark, right? And I'm an individual watermark. So God is in me, through me, and around me. It is everywhere, at all times present. So when I talk about that as seeing the face of God everywhere that I go, what I'm talking about is a feeling that I get. I can be standing somewhere on a street corner or whatever, and I will feel the presence of another human being, or I will feel the presence of an animal in a yard, or I will feel the presence. For instance, this tree that I have out front, I love this tree. It's a purple autumn ash. And what's funny about it is I didn't pick it because it was purple. We were at this tree place, and we're driving around in this little cart, right? And I think the guy thought I was nuts. We're going up and down these rows of trees. And I was like, nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. And we get to this one aisle, and I was like, oh, stop. And I run over to this tree because it was vibrating at me. I could feel the vibration of it. And I went over and I started loving on this tree. And I go, this is the tree. And he's like, okay, that's a purple autumn ash. I go, oh, good. It's purple, of course. They didn't have any purple leaves at the time. It had green leaves because it only turns purple in the fall. But that tree has been so happy in our yard since the day they planted it. It has grown and grown and grown, and it's very strong, and it withstands just everything. And I realized it was because it was meant for our yard. And I felt that on a really deep level. And that's what I think we need to live our lives by. Knowing that we are the beloved, not because we earned it, not because there's somebody there that looks at us and says, I beloved that person more than I beloved this person over here. That is the gift that has been given to us from the day we were born. We are the beloved. You are the beloved. I am the beloved. We are that which God loves, because it made us out of itself. It can't help but love itself, right? I mean, God doesn't make junk. Think about this. If we're made out of God, Okay, maybe we're made out of God's stuff. And we believe that God is perfect, whole and complete as it is. Then how could we be anything less? God doesn't make junk. God makes only perfect creations. And so when I look at myself in the mirror, I know that I'm the beloved because I'm perfect already. Doesn't mean my actions are always 100%, perfect. But I know that that essence of me, that life of me, that very beingness of me is perfect because it is the stuff of God that I am made of. And so one of the things that I like people to work on is to stand in front of the mirror and say, I am the beloved. I am is the highest form of prayer you can do. Back in the Bible, in the Moses story, God appears as a burning bush and says to Moses, go back to the Pharaoh and tell him to let my people go. And Moses is like, okay, who do I tell him is saying this? And the bush replies, I am that I am. So that is the highest form of prayer. I am. And you don't want to use it in a negative way. When you say things like I'm sick and I'm tired, or I'm sick or I'm tired, or I'm over this, or, however you want to say it, the universe says, okay, yes, you are. And so when you use the I am, you want to say, I am the beloved. I am whole, perfect, and complete, just as I am. And when you use the I am that way, and the universe said, yes, you are, then your experience becomes even more powerful. So this week, I'd like you to do that with me. Just go to the mirror like a couple of times a day and just repeat, I am the beloved. I am the beloved. I am the beloved. I think that it is probably the most powerful affirmation you can use for yourself to not only commune with God, but to commune with yourself, to have that relationship with yourself. To understand that you are holy. In fact, you are holy. That's why I like that song. I am holy, holy, holy. I am whole. Because when we recognize our wholeness, our holiness, when we recognize that, there's nothing we can't do. God is invoked in the very statement, I am the beloved. And we experience the love of God that way. So I ask you this week to look with your eyes and your ears and your heart and your brain and see God everywhere. Namaste is, I see the presence of God in you. And even though you may not like the actions of others, if you recognize that at the heart of them, at the being level of them, they are perfect because they are made of God's stuff, then all of the actions that they do that would trigger you normally don't trigger you anymore because you are now seeing them in the light of holiness. So will you do that with me this week? Look at animals, humans, nature, all around and recognize the presence of God. And also go to the mirror a couple times a day and recognize the presence of God within you by declaring, I am the beloved. Will you do that with me this week? Let's have a prayer. So right now I turn my awareness to the infinite power, the infinite presence of God, to that place within me that knows the power of God, knows beyond all human awareness how powerful, how loving, how beautiful God simply is. As my awareness turns to that, it also turns to the place where we are connected. To know that that is who and what I am, my very essence, my very life, my very being, made of God's stuff, connected to all of life through it, as it. I know that same truth to be so for this team that God has provided me, for Lynn and for Faith and for Oz and for Karen, and for Elaine, and for Tina. For we are one in that infinite power, that infinite presence of God. We are one in that beingness of divine intelligence that flows through us, connected by it, through it, as it. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages. That is God flowing through us. Pure perfection, holiness, who and what we are. I know that same truth to be so for everyone here today, whether that be in real time or later on. Because I know that we are connected by it, through it, as it. That it is simply who and what we are. And every thought, every action, every deed is guided and led by that ancient wisdom of the ages. That is God flowing through us so perfectly. The wisdom of God. The wisdom of all of life. I'm just blessing this week with that awareness, with that knowingness that God is in all, through all, as all. I celebrate that awareness because I know it brings great and greater things into our lives. When we commune with God that way, when we open ourselves as a channel through which God's love comes, when we surrender any idea to the contrary, our life becomes so beautiful, so amazing. Hi, Fred, Kathy, and Marlene. That beauty expands out into every area of our life. I bless it. I call it good. As I know for every name that is in the ministry of prayer today, that there is underlying any condition they are experiencing, there is that belovedness of God. I pull back the veil now and reveal that truth as the experience of each of those names in the ministry of prayer. I claim it for them in their name as good and very good. I give thanks for it. My heart just fills with gratitude as I just let this be. And so it is. Amen. Oh my, now I have to come back to reality. Okay. Right now is our opportunity to receive your gifts, tithes, and offerings, and your opportunity to express your gratitude for that which you have experienced in form and that which you have created in the conscious mind of God, but may not necessarily see in the form yet. And, oh, okay, those are the announcements. In a minute, I'm going to have you go to www.oasiscsl.org. And about 2/3 down the page, there is an offering affirmation. And I'm going to have you say with us. And underneath that is the Contribute Now button. And let me just speak a little bit about contribution, because we don't have a facility. So you're not contributing to rent or utilities or any of those normal expenses with churches that have a physical structure. Our mission is to heal the world, and our vision is that we do it one person at a time. And that's a global reality. That's not just here in my neighborhood. We already have people from Germany, the UK, and the Netherlands who join us. Whether they join us in person, usually not. It's like, let's see, right now it would be 7:00 at night. Usually they pop in later. After they've had their dinner and whatever, and view it later. But we would really like for all of the countries to have the ability to be uplifted and inspired by God's message. So That's what you're contributing to, because unfortunately, marketing does cost money. So whether you're in real time now or you're coming by later and viewing it, please go with me right now to www.oasiscsl.org and say this offering affirmation with me. This perfect gift is spirit informed, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give and joyously I receive. And so it is. Press that contribute now button and help us get this message out into the world to uplift and inspire and heal one person at a time. All right. We have this wonderful team of licensed practitioners from coast to coast that I always like to boast about, because it makes us special. I think that we have somebody in Minnesota, someone in Long Beach, California, someone in Florida. It's just really nice. We've got people in Colorado. It's just very nice to be able to say coast to coast, we have this team of licensed practitioners. Our licensed practitioners are the healing arm of the church. And we refer to ours as the God Squad. Have for 12 years. They've been the God Squad. Because I like to think of it that way. I like to think of it as, when we go into the hospital, we are the God Squad, or when we go to a memorial or a wedding or anything like that, we are the God Squad showing up. Anyway. Our licensed practitioners are available for spiritual guidance by appointment for a fee. So you can go on our website and check out our practitioners. And if you feel a connection to one of them, you can reach out to them either on our website or by Facebook and let them know that you would like to have a session. And they're going to let you know how to pay for it. Could be Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Wise. I don't get involved in that. Each practitioner has their own practice, their own business. And so they tell you how you're going to pay for it. You pay for it, and then at the appointed time, they will video chat you. I like seeing practitioners because sometimes it's very hard, even for me, to see the truth about my situation. And practitioners are that person that you can go to and say, here's what's going on for me. And they will continue to know the spiritual truth for you until you can see it for yourself. So that's one of the benefits of going to a practitioner. So Oz, I'm not sure if he will be available today for our 1 Minute Miracle. He hasn't come back on, so I don't know if we've lost him for the entire thing. Excuse me. If you really are in need of prayer, please reach out to me by DM or face video chat. So I'll be available for the 1 Minute Miracle, I'm thinking. And that's a time where you can just share whatever issue you're experiencing, and we stop, drop, and pray with you right then and there. And if you would like to have prayer, we have the God Squad. Actually, one of the things that they do is they pray every day on a week for a week on those prayer requests. So if you would like prayer for something, in the comments section, type what you would like prayer for. If it's something you don't want to be made public, you can DM Faith, and she will put it on the private facing group page on Facebook for the God Squad. And if you would like to be part of our online community, type more in the comment section, and Faith will add you to our public facing group page on Facebook, which is our online community. There you will find information that we post it there before we post it anywhere else. We post what's going on at the church, whether we have events or we have classes or that kind of thing. So it's a great way for you to stay in touch with what's going on. Plus you can talk to people back and forth too. We've allowed that. So it's a great way for you to establish that community. All right. And then you have to be a member of it, by the way, in order to post anything. All right, Brooks and Bailey. So we like to support those who support us. This is a mala bead necklace that is made out of amethyst, so it's $60. they have mala bead necklaces that are $30 and up. Mala beads have 108 beads on them. And the way the Buddhists and the Hindus use them is to do the mantra. They move one bead at a time, kind of like in the Catholic Rosary, just almost like that. It's interesting how that crosses all traditions, right? That practice of doing it that way. In our philosophy, what I say is if you're going to do 100 affirmations, it's a great way to keep that because you just slide one bead and you know you've reached 100, at least 100. Their bracelets have 54, I believe, on them. And so it's a great way to do your spiritual practice when you're doing affirmations. So Brooks and Bailey can be reached at brooksandbailey0307@gmail.com, or they have a Facebook page. And whenever they do an event where they're going to have a booth, they share it and I try to share it on my page as well. All proceeds go to Rocky Mountain Lab Rescue, which is actually a very worthy cause. So, Faith?
And please check out my metaphysical shop. The website no longer works. However, you still can order through Instagram and Facebook at the Mystic Brew 303. Just DM us and we can get that sent to you. We have intention jars as well as bath salts and kits to make intention jars for yourself. So please check those out and give us a follow. We are going to be adding a new element to the Mystic Brew within the next few weeks is my goal. So definitely follow us so that you get updates on when that goes live.
Okay, thank you. Here's an intention jar that she made me for my prosperity. Whenever I'm thinking about prosperity and abundance, I play with this. That's why all the wax is coming off of it. All right, so also, let's see. Because Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver and Karen Drucker provide us with music, we'd like to also tell you about their stuff. So Reverend Fairy Elaine Silver's website is up on the screen there, also in the comments. And unfortunately, she has no way to update her website. I don't know what happened, but something got broken in there. And so she can't put her, payment, the different ways to make payment to her on for some reason. But she travels around the country singing, and she always has CDs in her car. So if you like something that you hear here and you go to the website, go look at what the CD is, and then contact her by email and let her know that you would like to purchase that CD. She'll let you know what form of payment to use, and she'll send out the CD. She's really good about getting it out that very next day. And then we have Karen Drucker, whose website does work. You can go on it and you can buy it by the song, by the CD, by the songbook. Some of her songbooks actually even have American Sign Language in case you were interested in learning how to sign a song. She has karaoke files so that you can sing along. Whatever you want to do, she's got it. And her website works, so you can process your form of payment right then and there. So anyway. Then check out our website at www.oasiscsl.org. There you're going to find video sermons and audio sermons. The video sermons are the last almost 3 years. The audio sermons are from years prior to that, from when we used to sell CDs inside the church in the facility. And we are also on YouTube for the video sermons, and we are on SoundCloud for the audio sermons. So it's under S. Tucker if you're looking for it. And just check it out. Check out our website as often as possible because we are in the process of updating it. Someone pointed out that we have a really old newsletter on there, and we haven't stayed current with the links to the practitioners, that kind of thing. And so we're working on getting that updated. And it's also a great way to get to know who our spiritual family is, because you can see the picnics and all the events that we've had at the church and see the people. All right. Let's move on to I'm thinking Oz is not going to be here, so I will pray out. Let's move on to our closing song.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And I know that the perfection of timing is always within the purview of God, for God is always with us, always in us, always as us. I know that this is true right now and forever. I know this is true for me and true for you. And I know that this week is blessed, and I let that blessing shine forth for each of us. Thank God this is so. I let it be.
And so it is. Amen. Thank you so much for joining us today. I know there's 1,000 things you could be doing on a Sunday morning. We're glad you were here with us. Join us every week, and more importantly, next week at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. And we're going to have something nice cooked up for you. And we love you very much. We're glad you were here. Thank you, Oz and Faith, for being here. I know, Oz, I know it's tricky being at an expo trying to do this, so we really appreciate you. Until next week, we love you. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Over and out.